Hey YouTube, it's Dimitri. Today we're going to plant this is, I guess, a Santa Rosa plum here. We've got some plums and peaches and other things we need to plant today. We're going to plant this Santa Rosa plum. The purpose of this video though is really to show you how I plant in heavy black clay, which I don't know if you can see, but I mean it sticks to everything when it's wet. It does not drain. In the summers, it turns rock hard and cracks. It is quite terrible to grow in. So we are just east here of Dallas with this nasty, mucky, black clay. I'm going to show you how I plant it. I know many people are going to disagree and have their own opinions, which is fine. But I'll throw some pictures maybe here on the screen. I've had great success with things such as apples, pears, apricots, which I was told would not grow very well, and those have been growing great, as well as peaches, plums, jujubes, and a variety of other things. So let's just dive on in here. So the first thing is just digging the hole. Understanding this is you never want your tree to be level with the ground here, because when you have rock hard clay or mucky clay and you dig a hole, it creates a bowl because the water doesn't drain out. I killed or almost killed a peach one year, my first time planting these, because I ended up digging this bowl and we ended up being in a low spot in the yard on top of this. And even though it's just a slight change in grade, when it rains heavy here in Texas, it will flood to this zone. It will fill the bowl up with water. And so the way to get around this is we're going to plant a little bit higher, a couple inches higher than the actual ground itself. We can bring some dirt in up and around it. This will keep the top roots nice and dry, and we're gonna encourage growth to go down over the years and kind of out. When this happens and the roots get big enough, you tend not to have root rot. The other thing I'm going to do is, I know a lot of people say plant, in native soils, don't add any mix-ins. I have a bag here of mix, doesn't really matter. It's gotta be, I get like tree and bush mix, or I get, this is landscaping peat replacement mix, something like this that's going to drain well for the plant. You'll see here I kind of mixed the bottom half of the hole with native clay and some of this garden soil mix with better drainage. We mix it all up. The clay is going to be in big nuggets, so you're not going to break that down. Don't worry about that. I mixed the bottom 50-50, and then you'll see on the top here I kind of layer in some nicer quality soils and clay kind of in layers, and I find this makes the tree grow more solidly into the ground because it's getting better drainage, it's getting better soil, but we're also somewhat adapting to that clay at the same time. So let's dig this hole here and take a look. You'll notice here too, the clay is real like, I don't know, bally. It's kind of crumbly, kind of bally. The first layer I took out was really hard and packed. This though is kind of that crumbly texture. This is what we want to save and kind of set to the side because we're going to mix this with that potting soil. Okay, I know this is hard to see, but it's probably about 12 to 18 inches deep here. I'll show you in a second. It's probably about the depth of the pot. But again, we're going to have mix underneath of it. We don't want it to sit flat on this clay. Okay, so you can see it's probably about the depth of the pot. We've got about index finger depth almost between the top of the soil in this pot right here. Again, what we're going to do, take some of this potting mix, we're going to mix it in. You'll also notice I clean the hole all the way out and then add the mix-ins back in. That's trying to get some of that aeration in the soil because this clay is so packed. So we mix this in, and then we go back here and grab some of this better crumbly clay that's not as hard packed, and then we mix it. Then add a little more clay. Try to get the grass roots out. We don't want those in there. And I don't know if you guys can see this or not, but it kind of makes, like, you kind of get some soil here. You also get, as you shake it, right, you see like they're big balls of clay that are kind of covered in this better potting mix. But I get it kind of this consistency. It's probably about 50 clay, maybe a little more, and 50% of this kind of potting mix. Break some of it up. It's okay, it's bally, it'll kind of keep some aeration. Then we're going to carefully pull our tree out of its pot. Set this in the hole. Okay, you'll notice if you measure the ground here, it's a little above, but if you measure it here, the tree's a little low on the outer sides. So we're gonna put a little bit more in. So again, a little more potting mix. And remember, if you get too much, you can kind of scoot it to the sides around the tree and we'll rough up the roots and then backfill. All right, check it again. I want it just a hair taller, so let's put a little bit more in. Okay, and now if you look at it, I know it's hard to see on here, we're probably about 1 inch to 2 inches above the highest part of the hole. Remember, water is going to drain to the lowest part, so we want to make sure we really get it up. I roughed the sides up a bit, like this. But you can see this one's kind of disintegrating into nothingness, which is okay. Try to get the bottoms as well. It's where the roots are really going to be. You don't want to disrupt it too much though, because I want it to sink. If it does sink, we can kind of pull it up by the trunk just a little bit and shake the dirt and then backfill around it. You notice though, I got a lot of potting mix from doing that. So I'm going to add some more clay. Okay. I hope you guys can see this, but we've got a good kind of rough, bally clay texture around this. And now we're going to add in some more potting soil. Or I don't call it potting soil, it's garden soil. Then we'll spread it around like this. Kind of root your tree the direction you want it so it's straight. And then I kind of backfill and compact your hands a little bit. Again, we got this trough. We're going to add some more clay and we're going to backfill with more garden soil. All right, now the clumpy clay is back in. Again, we don't want to compact the clay yet. We want to get some of this garden soil in around it. Then we can compact a little bit of this in between the clay. Now again, I don't know if you can see, we're a little low on this side. We're high right here, a little low back here. We'll add a little bit more clay around it. Again, trying to skip these huge clumps unless they'll break easily. This one's not really breaking. But getting this loose, crumbly, well, kind of tacky, but more crumbly texture of clay to kind of backfill around here. Okay, and now we've kind of got this clay up. We're about level-ish. We're gonna put a little more of this topsoil on. We're gonna kind of grade it away. The goal is kind of create like a slight volcano to help run the water off the plant and away into the other surrounding areas. We just don't want this to flood. And now I'll kind of just spread this, again, kind of making a volcano-ish. Also keeping the tree though, the stalk here, the trunk of it, cleaned out and down to where the potting soil is. We don't want to cake it around the trunk. It'll get sick because it will get disease and fungus around there. But try to get this sloped. You can see I'm going to get some drainage on this direction. So it kind of looks like we're going from this way over. It's just how the landscape is here. And I can always clean back a little bit around the trunk. You can see there's a little bit of roots sticking out. And that's okay. So that is how I plant them. I'll end up putting a metal ring around it probably to help keep all this native grasses here that we have and weeds from Texas. So that is how I plant fruit trees here in hard black clay soil. Thanks for watching. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And as always, until next time.